皆さん、こんにちは。NTT4つの銀行を保有している金融グループになります。規模としてはですね、日本で4番目の金融グループになります。個人の顧客は約1600万顧客います。から法人のお客様は50万社ぐらいのお客様を抱えています。で、預金の残高は、これちょっと日本円で恐縮なんですけど、約62兆円。こういった規模感の銀行グループです。で、拠点数は、800を超える拠点を保有していまして、東京を中心とした首都圏、それから大阪を中心とした関西圏、実はこれは、2大商業都市、
I'm sorry, I'm not getting the Spanish version from the Japanese booth. I cannot interpret into English. I'm not getting the audio from the Spanish.
700万ダウンロードを超えます。このくらいの規模で今デジタル化を推進しているということです。で、これはですね、リソナ銀行グループのシステムの概要なんですが、システムはもっと非常に
Of the general system, there are far more systems than these. These are critical mission, and the top part is the accounting. The characteristics are in one of the programs. There are 3 banks where this works. In January 2025, Minato Bank will be integrating the system. They're going to work out with only one system. The other structure, there is a structure of hubs and spoke where several channels will be connected. And here we have the mainframe and hub and control. And we're also going to have internet banking and with systems from abroad, from the outside. This is the general structure. The critical mission systems, well, we are applying GeneXus technology, and that is for internet banking and for the branches. Let me introduce myself. I belong to Entity Data Sophia Corporation. Entity Data is a holding, and it has a percentage of investments. And we, in the Resona Holding Group, work on provide the support and are developers. Entity Data integrates systems, is the largest in the world. Furthermore, the top part, invoicing, is in Japanese yens. From now on, I'm going to talk about the Japanese culture in general terms. In Japan, They ask for the system to be supported up to the very minor detail. It must be customized. The other characteristics that depends quite a lot on software vendors. Software companies are Fujitsu, Hitachi, IBM. Those are the main vendors. And what happens is that at the end of the day, it's very expensive to keep up these systems because they change. And then to reduce costs, what we've done was to use the open source software with GeneXus. And we've started several projects. Let me present the projects that we're carrying out right now. Most of the business we do is internet banking. This is the characteristic. When you use a bank, we have a card, and for instance, this is my savings card. Here's the date, the different movements, the balance. Everything is analogic. This is my savings account card, and I've got a stamp. I don't know if you see this. We are still using a stamp instead of a signature. This is my own personal stamp that is used and valid as a signature. This is still in use in Japan. Now, because of this, we have to use very expensive terminals because you have to print vouchers twice. All these terminals, well, we wanted to reduce the costs. We wanted to reduce the number of terminals. And what we've achieved is 70% of transactions were done through the internet. We've been able to develop this through GeneXus in a very rapid manner, 70% of all transactions. These are GeneXus characteristics. What we want is to use this software in the long term. And the important thing here is to reduce costs. Of course, it's important to train the personnel, the staff, for these projects. So those terminals that cost a lot were reduced by 55%. We said that we depended on software companies, and all development would take time and costs were very high. Now, thanks to GeneXus, in this large project where we use GeneXus, thanks to it, in Japan, we received the support from Innovation Solutions. Since we have this support and technical support as well, we felt we could rely on this system, and so the costly terminals were using GeneXus. It's not that we have developed absolutely everything using GeneXus, but we've created components And we could also apply GeneXus test for the tests, and their development was very effective. At present, this is being used by over 10,000 people.
Now, regarding the future, this is the project we are currently working on. And this is the internet banking system that is using GeneXus and is being strengthened. This is a large volume, critical emission, and the number of users is over 8 million. The capacity to process is of 1,000 transactions per second. This system is being built at present, and we hope it will become into operation by March next year. We are fulfilling the last stage. In addition, we use open source, and we are using such technologies that need to be standardized. Regarding the components and standardization, we have to make them compatible. In this case, we also must have them on-premise, and we have a private cloud with over 1,000 servers being operated. Finally, we are considering migrating the systems in batches. They now operate in mainframe, and we want to migrate to open system. And we have quite a large number. The system, the batch system, will also be open. And in this way, we will be able to reduce the capacity of CPU to 6,000 MIPs. And that is what we want to do using the GeneXus technology. It's a very hard work we have ahead of us, so we look forward to receiving the cooperation from the technical experts from GeneXus. Thank you. Now we'll give the floor to Mr. Yokoi, my colleague. Thank you, Vice President Shiratori. Thank you. We have been providing support for the GeneXus internalization process. Thank you. Thank you.
No es Shokoi. Por favor, recuerda mi nombre. Okay. 改めまして横です。プレゼンテーションは日本語で行います。
I apologize, but the rest of my presentation will be in Japanese. I'm the Director for Innovative Solutions. I have been involved with GeneXus. I'm an evangelist. I disseminate information about GeneXus in Japanese, and I'm working in very many projects that have to do with GeneXus. I have blogs, and most GeneXus engineers in Japan have been learning through my blog. Today I'm here to talk about the Resona Group. And as my fellow colleague about the massive banking system in Japan, I will refer to the key points for effective use of GeneXus. There are 3 key points. The first one, the long-term use of an application. In the second point, I will refer to the standardization of development rules. Banks manage large volumes, and therefore it is very important to standardize. And the third key point has to do with automatic generation of existing resources. This is in order to increase productivity and foster development as we migrate from the existing systems. For the long-term use of an application, the history of bank system systematization in Japan is over 50 years old. So here we have many systems that in their majority have to be replaced every 10 years. Not only in terms of hardware, it also has to do with applications that need to be changed as well. We need to change hardware and middleware, and in the end, we also have to replace the systems, which means high costs. Now, on this occasion, our project in 2019, by the month of June, we decided to update the systems at the level of our branches that also adopted GeneXus in this change. The other point is that NTT Data Sofia has mainframe engineers mostly, and for them to use Java or .NET was a little bit complicated. However, when they started using GeneXus, they found it much easier, and it was better for them to work with open source. My second point has to do with standardizing development. Even though GeneXus generates multi-platforms, the introduction of the tool does not guarantee success of the project, because the massive development in the long term for banking systems requires control, and it's not enough with doing a bots method. Now, as this is such a large organization, in the banks we use the waterfall method. We have customized and personalized the method, the cascade method. For example, all documents that relate to design were standardized in order to develop the banking system. Regarding the development, to use GeneXus in an effective manner, we have references from the database and the knowledge base. Of course, we needed some training to do so, and we did tutorials so that our engineers could work. Finally, of course, we faced other difficulties, like not understanding certain things, so the GeneXus team always supported us, always helped us. My third point, when we use a tool that already existed, GeneXus has the ability to enhance productivity. But replacing all these many systems would take time. And even though GeneXus had to start from scratch, we didn't have time to do so. So we used all the documents and resources already existing. And what we did was create objects automatically. This is the first point where developing systems for consultation at the level of our branches. And the documents that already existed were further developed with the use of tools. And we were able to automatically generate 131 different types of GeneXus objects for banking transactions. Not all of them were successful, but we were able to adapt them. Then, regarding internet banking, we have unit tests. These banking tests were quite a large number. Creating a new system was time-consuming. So we had to create a test case every time we need one. And the test takes place because we have a specific design that is prepared in advance. That's a very Japanese tradition. But as this is automatic now, we have been able to avoid errors and also reduce the time it takes. I will now refer to our activity when we were working on already existing specifications. This is for the automatic generation. We checked the documents. They were Excel documents, and this included a definition of screens. But then these documents already had source codes, and the information was very accurate and structured. So this file was converted as a database to generate objects. How did the automatic generation occur? The overall theory of GeneXus for automatic generation has an already defined set of information structures. I think this is the GeneXus theory. Let's look at them one at a time. For example, transaction objects. We have a defined set that is with transaction objects, attributes, levels, and by applying the theory, we have the theory of basic tables and extension tables, and we obtain the SQLs. In terms of patterns, we apply world with plus, and we generate GeneXus objects like the user interface. And regarding the whole set of information, screen definitions, and element definition in one Excel file. And we also have data provider. All of this was generator. The output was SDT, data provider, and web panel. And after that, the validation took place. So we created user controls with their own components, and in this is the way we've been working.
This diagram represents the process. The documents were converted. We generated GeneXus object in an XPZ file, and we exported it to the IDE of GeneXus, and the process continued. Let's look now at the results. We had a schedule of 16 months from the scratch. But with GeneXus, we automated the process And so instead of requiring 16 months, we could do it in 7 months. So we were able to reduce the time. This 131 consultations. Lastly, some key issues to take into account when we make automatic generation. It doesn't mean that all systems can be, it can't be applied to every system. This depends on the business nature and the system in order to determine how effective automatic generation can be. We aren't thinking of having 100% automatic generation. The purpose is to generate common components and doing it in specific sections. We also want to introduce a preliminary preparation process into the master scheme. That's an important point. That's how NTT Data Sofia Innovative Solutions know about finance and the Resona Group. Thank you.
握手しましょうか。
はい。あ、そうですね。